New York City Mayor Eric Adams ran his campaign on keeping NYC a sanctuary city, so Texas Governor Greg Abbott supported this move by providing him with plenty of people seeking sanctuary. And now, the former NYPD captain finally admits his policies will destroy the city.
When a madman down in Texas decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City, never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City.
As the Daily Mail covers the situation, they state there is over 110,000 refugees already in NYC, and with 10,000 arriving every month, it will cost the city $12 billion. So in New York City, the hyper-left-leaning ladies on The View, with their collective shoe-sized IQ, finally chime in on the crisis.
It puts tremendous stress on a city, on a community, on the social services. They need to be resettled elsewhere.
They need to be out. We're this massive country.
Well, and it's only going to get worse with global warming and climate change because people can't live in certain parts of this world.
Of course it's climate change. It probably has nothing to do with the man that they were simping over for the last 4 years and how he ran his campaign on this.
I would in fact make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are.
And surge they did, as Fox News' Bill Malugin brought us the sad status of our border.
Right now in El Paso, where you can see there are still migrants waiting at that bridge, hoping to get into the United States, and CBP has effectively established a blockade there, if you will. Take a look at this. One of our contacts on the ground in Juarez showing this massive group of around 1,000 migrants.
And that hasn't stopped, as Texas continues to encounter heavily armed individuals crossing Biden's wide-open borders. Now, Texas did put out a makeshift wall of buoys at the border, but Biden sued them to take it down. Arizona put up shipping containers as a temporary wall, which Biden also sued them to take it down. And for the wall that was put in place during the Trump administration, it appears Biden has begun to sell off parts of it online. Now, his press secretary claims Biden is successfully controlling the situation.
The president has done more to secure the border and to deal with this issue of immigration than anybody else. And we secured record funding for border security and management. And let's not forget, we've expanded the pathway to citizenship under this president.
Yes, the funding of welding the border doors open in the name of monsoons and animal movement, and the National Guard just cutting open parts of the border to allow the migrants in. So hopefully that gets everybody up to date on how you really can't classify this as a crisis because it's going exactly as Biden advertised. The sad part is, the places that didn't vote for Biden were suffering the consequences of his presidency most, but now the people that did vote for Biden are suddenly panicking when they realize there's actual consequences to elections. The only issue being is Democrat politicians like New York City Mayor Eric Adams have no problem sacrificing everyday citizens in the name of his political aspirations. He just didn't realize that he would be sacrificed in the name of Biden's political aspirations. Because as border states continue to bus migrants to sanctuaries, Massachusetts has now activated the National Guard. Los Angeles, despite voting to make LA a sanctuary city, just 2 months later, they're now trying to sue Texas for sending them some people that are seeking sanctuary. And now residents in Chicago are fed up with it.
I don't want them there. Take them someplace else or send them back to Venezuela. I don't care where they go. This is wrong. You got 73% of the people homeless in this city are black people. What have you done for them?
As back in New York City, Mayor Adams blames Biden for his problems, where apparently he may have to open a closed prison to find a place for the migrants, as hundreds can be seen sleeping in the street, and now they somehow believe this is sanctuary. So isn't that interesting that all these politicians continuously slam conservatives for wanting law and order, but once they get the opportunity to stand by their statements, they suddenly start citing Trump talking points, which in turn actually reveals the big grift that is open borders. Because packing red states with hundreds of thousands of migrants was just fine until a small fraction of that started to take resources from liberals. And if you look back at this video from Texas, it was always about the political strategy of changing the demographic.
Texas is a very, very Republican state, but some people say the demographics are changing, and the demographics alone will make that it won't be so Republican next time around.
It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics, because of the population growth of folks from outside of Texas.
But it's not going to happen on its own. The demographics are changing, but it's going to take a lot of work from Democrats to lay the infrastructure for change. So we're very busy working on that now.
Because if you look at what Mayor Eric Adams put out on social media just a week ago, where he wants to rally the citizens to give work authorization to asylum seekers. Now the Twitter replies were calling him a failure, how he's prioritizing migrants over our own veterans and homeless, but also that this is just a ploy for votes, as just last year, Mayor Adams pushed for NYC to become the first major metro to allow non-citizens to vote, which over in Chicago, their residents have just started to realize what's about to happen.
Are you aware that there are immigrant advocates at state houses all over this country who are advocating for non-citizen voting in local elections? Politically, having over 500 people in our community will completely wipe out any interest we have.
And now even New Yorkers are tired of being second-class citizens to non-citizens.
Because this governor does not give a about our kids. They said, listen, kids come to school, you cannot turn them away based on their immigration status. I'm sorry, what the did you just say? Because I'll tell you right now, when my kids went to school, every time I had to register a kid, I needed a mortgage paper, I needed a tax bill, I needed utility bills, birth certificates, vaccination records, okay? So I had to protect everybody else's kids. I had to follow all these rules, but now we're just gonna throw it out to the wayside because you have a little bit of a crisis? No.
And apparently this is true, as over 20,000 migrant students have enrolled in their schools and will not need to have their shots. Which is insane in NYC of all places, where just 2 years ago, the police were arresting people in Burger King for not having their shots. So whether it's in New York City, Chicago, or even Los Angeles, these far-left voters always feign how important it is to make sacrifices for the greater good. That is, until the current oppression meta moves them from the category of the greater good to the category of sacrifice. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on the actual invasion that's taking place in Spain right now that they're trying to hide from you.